Rich Politiski, bench pressing courage. Bench pressing courage, Rich Politiski.
Thank you, Contest Chair.
You're welcome.
"20 years ago, this was my definition of strength. One day, my wife and I were relaxing on the couch, watching the evening news. A story comes up about a house completely engulfed in flames. Suddenly, a man barrels past all the firefighters and runs toward the flames. You could see all the firefighters yelling, 'Stop! Stop!' But he kept on going. A minute or two later, the man runs out of the burning house with his dog in his arms. I looked at my wife and said, 'Now that guy is tough. That took major strength and courage to run into that fire without any protective gear.' My wife looked up to me and said, 'First, let me tell you something about my wife. My wife and I have been together for 30 years. Our core values and beliefs are completely aligned, but we are complete opposites. I am a talker. She is a listener. When someone else offers up their own opinion about something and she doesn't agree with them, she won't argue. She will listen. And then she will ask questions. Sometimes it is to help her understand the other person's point of view. Other times, it is to gently help them see a different, more correct perspective. It took me a long time to realize this, and please, don't tell my wife I said this. But when she does speak up, she is always right. Back to that night, my wife looked up to me and said, 'Yes, that was very brave. But true courage is found in vulnerability.' Now, my first instinct was to laugh and to say, 'No way. True courage is found in discipline, strength, and power. Vulnerability is the very definition of weakness.' Wasn't it? Thankfully, I've learned over the years to keep my mouth shut. So instead of responding, I thought about it. Why, yes, running into fire does make your body vulnerable to pain and possible injury. But I think my wife meant more than just this news story. So I thought about it a little deeper. And that's when it hit me. If I want to be a man of true courage, then now is the time for me to step into the flames of my own vulnerability. Contest Chair, fellow members, and honored guests, that journey started December 23rd, 1994, the day I got kicked out of law school. Later that night, I was feeling down, so I called my buddies and we went out drinking. We went from bar to bar to bar because I figured if I couldn't pass the bar, I might as well visit the bar. After drinking way too much, I began to feel invincible, like I could bench press a mountain. And that's when I made the worst choice of my life. I drove myself and my two friends home that night, but we never made it home. 2 days later, I woke up in a hospital. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt, and thankfully, no other cars were involved in my drunk driving accident. But I knew I was going to have to pay for my actions. Even though my dad was my attorney, I was sentenced to community service and mandatory attendance at AA meetings. Now, the community service, I could understand that, but AA? I wasn't an alcoholic. But it was court-ordered, so I had to attend. Little did I know, those secrets, meetings would reveal something special. A secret that would change everything. For my first meeting, my dad drove me because my license was revoked. But what really surprised me was that after we parked, my dad started walking into the building with me. Was it to make sure that I actually attended the meeting, or was it to embarrass me and make me stand up and say something? Whatever it was, I really had no choice. So I told my dad he didn't have to go in with me. But he surprised me again when he said, "Son, let's do this together." When we first stepped foot into that meeting, something weird happened. They all knew my dad by name. They all yelled, "Dick!" Now, I wasn't sure what was going on. Did my dad actually represent all these people at one point in his career? I had no time to worry about it because the meeting had begun. And who do you think the first person to stand up and share something? My dad. The USC educated, the brilliant and talented attorney, my dad, who I never once in my entire life saw take a sip of alcohol, went on to share his personal story about his struggles with alcoholism and about how it nearly robbed him of his career, his wife, and his unborn son. My dad made himself vulnerable to reach me and to teach me. And at that very moment, I looked at my dad. I didn't see weakness. I saw strength. I saw courage. I saw love. That night, I saw my dad not just as a man, but as a hero. My hero. To anyone out there who has ever run into the power of your own pain, thank you. To my wife for helping me challenge my own beliefs, thank you. And a special thanks to my dad for showing me that this is not true courage. True courage is vulnerability.